computer. Yay! All right. So anyway, I just started talking, Judy, and the only thing I had said was, I we got the impression that not everybody understands what it means to have a deceptive cadence. So I was just telling them I found two videos, little short videos, that
Yes.
explains it a little bit. So we were going to start there since you weren't here yet, but we we can start somewhere else if you'd rather, Judy.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Yeah, good. You good. You
Okay.
good. Good.
All right. I'm going to share my screen and then we're going to take a look at those videos. I got them ready to go here. I just got to set it up. All righty. Let me see now. Let's get to the right page. There it is. So, fix this a little bit. And we want to make sure if you have trouble hearing it or seeing it, sometimes if you turn off your screen, turn off your video, it might come through a little better. So here we go. And give me a head nod or something or a thumbs up of, yes, I can hear it. No, I really can't, kind of a thing. Let me see. I got to find the rest of you. Where'd you go? Oh, I can't see you guys. There we go. All right, there we go. Go ahead.
You're supposed to be hearing something?
Yes. Can you
I
not hear
cannot
it?
hear anything.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. I did hit the little, oh, wait a minute. I see now. Hold on. I forgot one button. Sorry.
Jean, we can't see or hear.
Right, there we go. Let me try again. I forgot that one button. Can you see
Okay.
it now?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
better.
Hi
good.
everyone, Ben here from musictheoryacademy.com. In this lesson, we're going to be having a look at cadences. And we're going to look at the following. Firstly, what is a cadence? Secondly, we're going to look at finished and unfinished cadences. I'm also going to introduce you to the four main types of cadence that you'll come across. And finally, we're going to have a look at how to use cadences in our compositions. So firstly, what is a cadence? Well, a cadence is simply a chord progression of at least two chords that ends a phrase or a section of music. Music is like spoken word. It's divided into phrases. It's divided into sections. Let's have a look at an example in spoken word. Here's a well-known children's rhyme. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. This is divided into phrases. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. That phrase sounds finished. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. That phrase also sounds finished. But there's a phrase in the middle, all the king's horses and all the king's men, that is unfinished. Okay, it sounds like it's got to keep going. All the king's horses and all the king's men, it doesn't make sense until you put something after it. Couldn't put Humpty together again. Music is exactly the same. You have phrases in music that sound finished, and you have phrases in music that sound unfinished. And it is the choice of cadence at the end of a phrase that determines whether it sounds finished or unfinished. So let's have a look at the finished cadences in music. Okay, finished cadences, not surprisingly, always end on chord 1. That's what gives it the sense that the phrase is finished. And there are two types of finished cadences. The first is the perfect cadence, which is sometimes known as the authentic cadence as well. And this goes from chord 5 to chord 1. So let's have a look at an example in C major. Here I've got a short musical phrase. It's only 2 bars long, but you can see that it ends with the chord 5 followed by chord 1. That is the cadence? And in notation, you get this little line between the two chords that indicates the cadence. Let's have a listen to this example. You can hear clearly how the cadence and the movement from 5 to 1 gives this definite sense that it is finished. Let's have a listen to the example again, but this time in C minor. Again, you can hear how this perfect cadence at the end, the chords 5 to 1, gives this definite, complete, finished sound to it. So that's the first finished cadence. The second finished cadence is called the plagal cadence. Now this goes from chord 4 to chord 1. This again sounds finished, but it's a gentler finish than the perfect cadence. It's sometimes called the Amen cadence because it's often used in very traditional hymns to sing Amen at the end of the hymn. Let's have a look and a listen to an example of a plagal cadence, again in C major. You can hear how it sounds finished, but it's a gentler finish than the perfect cadence. Let's have a listen to it this time in C minor. So those are our two finished cadences. We have the perfect or authentic cadence, which is chord 5 to 1, and the plagal cadence, which is chords 4 to 1. So what about the unfinished cadences? Well, not surprisingly, these never end on chord 1, because if they did end on chord 1, they would sound finished. Again, we've got two types of unfinished cadence. You've got the imperfect cadence, which is sometimes known as the half cadence. Now, this ends on chord 5, but it can be chord 1 to 5, chord 2 to 5, or chord 4 to 5. You've got three different options of how to approach the cadence. Here's an example in C major. I've used chord 1 before chord 5. Listen to how this sounds unfinished. You can clearly hear that the phrase wants to continue, the music wants to move on to something else. Let's have a listen to the example, this time in C minor. Again, you can hear how the phrase sounds unfinished. The second type of unfinished cadence is the interrupted or deceptive cadence. Now, this is a wonderful cadence. The clue's in the name. It's a surprise. Something happens that you're not expecting. And this goes from chord 5 usually to chord 6. Now, the listener is often expecting it to go from chord 5 to chord 1. They're expecting this perfect cadence. But instead, they get this surprising sound. Have a listen to the interrupted cadence in C major. You can hear how the music sounds as though it's going to go back to chord 1, but it doesn't. In comes this chord 6 instead. Have a listen to it in the minor key. I love the interrupted cadence in a minor key because chord 6 is actually a major chord, and so you get this wonderfully distinctive interrupted and deceptive sound. So those are the two unfinished cadences. So how do we use cadences? Well, we use cadences to end a phrase in our music compositions, and we need to ask this question: do I want the phrase that I'm writing to sound finished or not? Okay, do I want the music to sound finished? If the answer to that is yes, then we choose a finished cadence, and you've got two options: the authentic and perfect, or the plagal. Now, usually you will use the authentic and perfect. You'll use 5 to 1, but sometimes you may want that more gentle sound of the plagal. If the answer is no, that you don't want your phrase to sound finished, then you choose either the imperfect or the interrupted. Again, typically you'll use the imperfect, okay, so 1, 2, 4 to 5, but sometimes you just might want to bring this element of surprise into your composition by using the interrupted cadence and going from chords 5 to 6. So what have we learnt? Well, we've learnt what is a cadence. Cadence is a series of at least 2 chords that ends a musical phrase. They've got finished and unfinished cadences, depending on whether the music sounds like it's going to finish there or keep going. There are 4 types of cadence that we've looked at: the perfect and authentic, the plagal, the imperfect / half, and the interrupted / deceptive. And then we've looked a little bit at how to use cadences in your composition. If you head over to my site, I've got an article on cadences. There's lots more information there. I've also put together a list of all the different cadences in all the keys, a major and minor, so you can use that. You can download it, print it off, use it as a reference point when you're composing. I really hope that's helped you get an understanding of cadences, and I hope that you're able to use them effectively in your compositions.
So what I like about this video is when they talk about the 4 cadences, the ones that we use, I could interchange the word tags. When we do a tag for barbershop, we're going to mostly always do the end of the song is going to be a perfect cadence. It's going to be 5-1 because that's very strong barbershop. And of course, we would use the dominant 7th because that's more barbershop. So the 5-7-1 is usually the way every song ends. Okay, even if you have a tag that does something else, the last 2 chords of the tag are going to be a 5-7-1, usually what happens. Okay, and so we very rarely use the plagal cadence, which sounds like the amen. We very rarely use that for a barbershop contest song because we want to have those. Remember, the major triad, the dominant 7th, and the dominant 9th are the 3 biggies that make the chords ring. And so using a plagal cadence at the end, or 4 chord to a 1 chord, it's not going to ring. It's not going to be as effective in our barbershop ears. It's not going to give us the goosebumps the way a perfect authentic cadence would do, going from 5-7-1. Okay, and with the deceptive cadence, the one we use most of the time is this interrupted one, the one that goes, you can hear that, oh, it goes somewhere else. So the next video we're going to watch, which is more of a listening one, you can really hear, oh, yes, I can hear the deception in there. So before we talk any further about this, I want you to watch the next video. Okay. Oh, shoot, now where'd you go? Come back here. Not that one. No fair. Just a minute. I had it lined up. Stop. I just have to find it. There it is. Okay.
We're going to have a look at cadences, and we're going to use the tune of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
This is mostly for listening than seeing it this time. Yeah.
To talk about what all the different cadences are. So first of all, we're just going to look at the perfect cadence. A perfect cadence is one that sounds complete at the end, and it usually goes from chord 5 to chord 1, and it sounds as if it is complete. It doesn't need to have anything else afterwards for it to sound resolved. Okay, so let's listen to that. If we now have a listen to one that sounds incomplete, that would be an imperfect cadence that usually ends on chord 5. So it might be chord 1 to chord 5, it might be chord 2 to chord 5, but it always ends in 5, therefore you feel as if it's not quite finished yet. So that would be something like, it would maybe go like that, and it's not quite done yet. So that's chord 1 to chord 5. So let's try that, and we'll just change the ending to have an imperfect cadence. Okay, we changed the melody a little bit, but now that sounds incomplete. It doesn't sound as if it's finished yet. Another one of our complete cadences, ones that sounds as if it is finally resolved and you don't need anything else, is called a plagal cadence, and that is chord 4 to chord 1, sometimes called the Amen cadence. So it sounds something like this. Okay. Amen. So that's chord 4 to chord 1. So let's end our phrase of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with a plagal cadence this time. It does sound complete, but it changes the feeling of it slightly. It's a bit more peaceful and a bit calmer rather than the kind of triumphant perfect cadence. Okay, and the last one we're going to talk about is an interrupted cadence. This is one where it goes somewhere unexpected. So it usually goes to chord 6. So it's usually chord 5 to chord 6, because you expect it to go to chord 1. You expect it to be a perfect cadence, but it changes at the last minute, and instead of going to chord 1, it goes to chord 6. So let's once again do our melody for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and end it with an interrupted cadence. That definitely sounds unexpected and it sounds incomplete. You want it to continue and resolve with that either perfect or plagal cadence at the end.
So simple, yeah. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to, oh, shoot.
But
You're supposed to stop. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get back over to here. Okay, there we go. So, I don't know if that, then what I wanted to do is take what we just watched and listened to and apply it to our barbershop tags. And like I said, we usually do the 5-7 to 1. It's the way our songs end. Okay. And oh, thank you, Emily, for putting that in there in the chat. How you could go back and watch
All their stuff, really good. Yeah.
yeah, really good to go back and watch and listen, and easy to understand. That's what I liked about that video. That it's very simple to understand. And so one of the things I'm trying to do is get you to develop your ear. And so you have to kind of know what it sounds like. And you know, we're all experienced arrangers, and so I think you're probably already pretty good with that. Did anybody have trouble hearing the finality of an authentic cadence or a perfect cadence that went from the 5 chord to the 1 chord? That's pretty easy to hear, yeah. And so so if you decide to use a plagal cadence, at the end of your tag, let's say, or the end of the song, which is the 4 chord to the 1 chord, that's not going to score as well in our competitions, because it doesn't, you know, we're looking for the barbershop stuff, and that's why the 5-7, the dominant 7th, the barbershop 7 to the 1 chord is much stronger, a stronger way to end it. And then the deceptive one is a really cool thing to use when you want to continue. You could take, there are 2 kinds of tags. I'm probably repeating some of the stuff that Judy taught you, because I wasn't there for when she taught the tag class, about how some tags you could end the song and then add the tag after that, or you could use the last measure or 2 of the ending of the chorus to transition into the tag, and that's why you might use a deceptive chord to make that happen. So what I want to do now is Judy has 2 tags that we're going to listen to, watch and listen, and I want you to listen to it and see if you can tell whether it's is it a deceptive tag? Is when it goes from the end of the chorus into the tag, what do you hear happening? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to do that part. And let's see now. Not that one anymore. Let me get to the right spot.
Are we supposed to be hearing something?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just trying to get it set up. I'll try to remember to push the right button this time. There we go. Does everybody see Lulu's back in town? Yeah. Okay, so I see that there are 2 different tags on here. So, here's one option, tag 1 or tag 2, and we're going to listen to that and see if you can tell what's happening. What kind of cadences do you hear? All right, here's the next tag. Wow. Can you tell by listening to that? Or, I mean, it's real fast. It's real fast. But what happens? Tell us about this, Judy. What was your thought process in creating these tags? These tags, Judy.
Oh, well, yeah, like you said, you wanted to hold their attention. So when the Miss Lulu's in, you don't want to go to chord 1, the final chord. You want to hold it there. So you gave it the 7th. Just hold it there real strong. I did the first one because I had a really good bass to do that. I wanted to show her off. And then, yeah, and the other one, of course, Lulu's in goes to, it's a more complicated tag, but either way, we're avoiding going to the final chord that is like, and actually the one down below doesn't show it on there. We flipped the lead and the baritone at some point, and I didn't sound the right thing, but we had, I mean, the lead had a hanger, the baritone had it was kind of complicated, but anyway, but this just shows normally yeah, the top one is just a perfect. Oh, I wanted to go up to the top if you would a minute, Jean, because I realized that if you look at this to Steve measure 56, there's an extra thing there because I got real clever. So Lulu's got game. Whereas if we just gone from Lulu's to the got to the game and left out the other, it would have been stronger. So it would have been gone. That's all deceptive in there, but that got game seemed like a good thing to do, but actually got game would have been stronger without that first thing, because you see I went to the 1 chord and then changed my mind. Do you see what I mean? How this 1 chord, I think it's a good example of I didn't even notice it till we're working on this. I'm like going, yeah, should have done that. But good game, go right for that instead of good game, good game. So you just had to add what you didn't need to add. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not really.
Okay, if you just look up there and you take out, you got Lulu, and you've got this nice 7th, and then you go right to measure 57, got game. So that it goes right to the, see, and the first game goes to chord 1, and that's what we don't want to do, right?
Right.
Now, I did it on that one because I wanted to make them think. I did in the thing, it was like, say hello to Dolly, say hello Dolly, something name. Millie is thoroughly modern, but Lulu's got game. And I kind of wanted to do it so then we would fool them and go, got game. But it would have been better without going to the 1. For all of our purposes, stronger to just go for that deceptive. And, I ended it and then I unended it. Do you see what I'm saying?
So what is the 6th chord in this key? I mean, it doesn't have to be only the 6th chord. The main thing to make it deceptive is it goes to something else besides going back to 1. So she
G
kind of,
minor.
yeah.
Yeah, the G minor.
Mhm. So that would have made it go, oh. Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was the only thing interesting about what he was talking. It was a really interesting video, Gene. But I think that our choices are more than a six chord.
Yes. Usually,
Oftentimes, like the
y-
one down there in tag one,
yeah.
goes right to the barbershop seventh. Bum. It's more like what we do. Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That one does a different variety. Yeah. What is that chord?
So what are you where are you talking about right now? Are you talking about the second tag? First
Yeah,
tag?
I'm just looking at what the chord is, which would be like,
Right here?
yeah, the town. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. The B flat 7.
Yeah, B flat. Yeah, it's just a revoiced B flat seven, isn't it? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
with the bass in there.
So she went to B flat 7, but then she did some other stuff before she went back to the regular B flat chord.
Hmm.
So so can you play that tag right there for us, Judy?
Hmm.
That one again, the second one. Oh yeah, so right here in town, it goes back to the one chord, right?
Yeah, and I did the bottom one so that the lead had a chance to do Miss Lulu's in town, which made it strong for her to be able to go there instead of Miss Lulu's in town. Just a difference in who you wanted to feature where. It turned out for
Mm-hmm.
us to do the top one because it just rang better for us. But
Ah.
mhm.
Mhm.
But we
Yeah.
can play. That's another thing you can do when you get to the tag. You can don't have to stay Lulu's in town, but Miss Lulu's in town. Whatever, come back to the for the lead, but take it out of a little bit of the. I mean, vary the melody a little bit to make it more exciting. To go for you know a bigger finish. Yeah.
Yeah, that does make a bigger finish.
Mm-hmm.
And the hanger though is still is one or do or the home tone, right? In tone, that's B flat, and it's in the key of B flat, you know. But
Yeah.
it's so cool about the other chords you can put around it, before you go back to the one chord again. But our barbershop ear, everybody wants to hear it. And it's not just barbershop music. Everybody wants to hear the end of a song go back to the home tone or the do of the song or, the key of the song. That's what we're used to hearing. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So I want to go to your other tag, which I think is very cool too. There we go. Here's this one.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit. Play this one. I like that one. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. It sings real pretty.
So we're in the key of A flat, and the 5/7 in the key of A flat is what chord? Everybody knows? Yeah,
Flat 7.
E flat 7,
Yeah.
right? And so here's the E flat 7, and we're expecting to hear it to go back to 1, and then it doesn't right there. Oh, that's so fun. I'm gonna play that again. I think I'll start like right here. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, so this one could it could do that or what it did. All right. So we're trying to get your ears, your to be able to hear the difference in that stuff. So Donna, how you doing with that? Are you able to hear some of those differences?
I can hear the differences, but I have no idea what they are.
Ah, okay. So if we would sit down and analyze the chords, when we hear like the finish of a song, it's usually the 5/7, the chord that's built on the fifth note of the scale, and then it goes back to one. So in the key of A flat, the 5/7 chord would be an E flat 7 chord,
Right.
right? And so here's an E flat 7 chord right here, and so right there. Oh, I'm just from listening, I'm going to expect the next chord to be the 1 chord, which is an A flat chord. But
That's
but
what you think you're going to hear.
yeah, do that again, Judy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you expected to hear that, and then, but it jolts my ear because I'm expecting it to go back home, to go back to the home tone. But it jolts my ear and surprises me. It doesn't jolt my ear, but it surprises me. And like, oh, it's doing something else. Oh, how cool. And then, but if as I continue to listen through here, it's going to eventually go back to the home tone. The whole song ends on the tonic chord or the 1 chord. Because we're in the key of A flat, it's going to end on an A flat chord, because that just brings finality to the song. That makes it like the period of a sentence. All right. So let's listen to that once again. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So I think if you would like to think about using a deceptive chord to get into your tag, so it doesn't go right to the 1 chord. If you like that idea, then the first thing you would have to think about is, okay, what chords do I have to use to make that happen? Oh, I could use a 6 chord. A 6 going from 5/7 to a 6 chord, which means it's built on the 6th note of the scale, is something we use in barbershop tags a lot. Okay, so if you're thinking in your brain, gee, I want to try a deceptive cadence, where do I start? How do I know how to do it? Well, that's what I would do. I would find the 5/7 chord of whatever key you're in. In this case, we're in the key of A flat, so the 5/7 chord is an E flat 7, and then I'll go to a deceptive chord of it. I'll go to a 6th chord, which would be built on the F of the scale. The F note of the scale, the 6th tone of the scale, and then weave your way around, and you can hear it. Go back home, back to 1. I don't know. Did that explanation help at all, Donna, or not really?
I guess so, yes.
Well, I'll be glad to work with this with you. It's very confusing. Yeah, I get that. We're just trying to think of different ways of how to approach a tag besides going
Okay,
right.
measure 52. What is that chord?
Okay, let's see. Measure 52. What is that chord? Who knows the answer?
It's a flat 7, right?
Well, it's a, yeah.
F flat.
It's an, and no, it's
It's not a 7.
it's
No.
an F flat triad, basically.
Right. You don't have to go from a 7 chord to a 7 chord. Like it's the 5/7. The last chord of measure 51 is the 5/7, and you just want to lead into some kind of a 6th chord. It doesn't have to be a 6th 7 chord. It doesn't have to be a dominant 7th chord. This has to be.
Okay, so this is a flat 6 chord. And
yes.
So that's okay. Okay, well, that was mostly what was confusing me. I thought that's not even a chord. That's not in the scale.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that it's like Jean says, it surprises you. What makes it work is because the bass is going to bring us back. Because that's really the chord. So it's kind of it's not a usual kind of a thing, I guess, just showing you that it's different than you may have heard some places. It's unusual, but it's It's cool.
Oh,
It sings
yeah.
well. But when the bass is "I love you so," because they're singing all the notes in the chord, and then they
Ah.
change it. They change that chord so that it'll go back out again.
Mhm.
And you can hear this one. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's more of what we're talking about. That's the. I'm sorry, I played the wrong thing. Can hear that goes right into it. It just was could have done without that whole first part there, except then that wouldn't have been cool. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, wow. So, anybody have any, does anyone have trouble hearing what we mean by deceptive? I mean, I think this is an important part that's going to help your tags be better. If you understand the concept, you might not be perfect at it yet, but if you understand the concept of how we can be deceptive, how we can put an element of surprise in there, or how we can make it sound, a deceptive chord is unfinished, right? It's an unfinished cadence. So it tells us, wait a minute, you thought the song was over. It's not quite over yet, because now wait till you hear this part, and then eventually it ends in a perfect cadence, the 5/7 to the 1 chord. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think, Donna, one of the things that when I just said it finished it, that if we hadn't taken the bass down there, it would have gone. Oh, sorry, it's too loud. See, wait. That's more of the deceptive that we're used to hearing, right? So all I did was on that home chord was put the bass on the D flat.
What are you talking about? Where?
I'm just talking about the home. I think it's hard. This
Oh, the
is
home
like you
chord?
said, if we're doing this for a while, and I guess you've listened to it, you're going for that kind of a chord. But if the chord those are the thoughts that you go come back home, and that's just kind of making it longer, making it more suspenseful, more soulful, I guess, was to double that F flat. But
Oh.
when it gets up to that D flat chord in 54, you can hear that chord. That sounds like a chord where, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
finishes the chord. That's the chord we're used to hearing. Yeah. We're used to hearing those kinds of things. And so you would have to have a place to do that doesn't work unless it comes back into that D flat. It's a little complicated. We just kind of did it to show you just a little kind of a far out kind of a um, just another way of doing things. But there are all kinds of places that, as she says, the deceptive thing that gets to these. Instead of going, come back. Instead of going home. Instead of that. Just something that doesn't take you to chord one, right? So all kinds of variations on the theme.
And what's so cool about this, and the reason it works, is because you can hear the home tone all the way through all those different chords, right? The home tone is still there. The A flat is still there, no, even though she's using other chords around it. And she's using every chord that she's using is a chord that has an A flat in the chord. So that's how she can get around that and make that work. And then make it come home again to an A flat one tonic chord. Yeah.
And that was Gina, I'm so glad you said it because I was noticing that, and I can't remember whose, but in a couple of them where you have somebody posting and then you took them off the post and went someplace else. Once you get somebody posting, the best thing is to let that thing post and let everything else move around it. You know, I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but you had a bass posting like that. And it's like, I wanted to hear that go. And then all of a sudden you had the bass move up here and then go back down again. No, find another way. I mean, whoever is posting, let that post. That will be very strong because, like she says, that keeps the home tone. That keeps that's the glue. And then let the other chords go around it. But if you move the post, if that's what you're doing, then it's not as easy to hear. It's not as strong. That's all.
Yeah. I've heard the post change, like from the lead singing that post, and then somehow it flips and the baritones are singing it. But that same note is still there. The same
Absolutely.
A flat
Yes.
is
Yes,
still
totally.
there. Just talking
Yep.
about changing to a different note. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
Okay.
So, what I'd like to do now is, I sent in the email a copy of, and I tried to make it so you could put it side by side, and we're gonna put it side by side on the screen here. Everybody's old tag and their new tag, and let's talk about it and oh, was that cool? What did you like about it, or that kind of stuff? So I have those ready to go. Let me get one up. Let's see which one.
Jean,
Yes.
how or would you even the use of the deceptive cadence,
Uh-huh.
is that how would you differentiate this from a turnaround? Or would you say a deceptive cadence is used to create a turnaround? Could that be true?
That could be. I know there's a turnaround is a term, but I've never used it in that wording. So I'm not good at explaining turnarounds. Can you do that, Judy? What a turnaround
I'm trying
is?
to think of where is it? I'm trying to think of a good example of one, and if we had one and something, something doesn't come right to me.
But I could see it being used for a turnaround.
Do you have one in mind, Elizabeth, that you were thinking of?
Not off the top of my head, but in the arranger manual that the SAI puts out, I recall that there's a passage where they talk about a turnaround. And I know in the playing of pop music, like on the worship team, they talk about doing a turnaround. And I'm always so confused.
Yeah. A turnaround is taking a note that's there, playing some other chords, and coming back to that original chord, right? Is that what that is?
Well, it's kind of like it's like repeating the last four measures, but it's the method from which you get from the end of the song back to those four, back four measures. It's just repeating that ending.
Yeah. Emily, do you know how to explain it?
Yeah, my understanding is that generally the term is used to indicate a transition from getting to one section of the song to another. So although you might use some interesting chords in order to do that, it's different conceptually from what we're talking about here, because this is just a device that's used to confuse the ear momentarily rather than a device that's used as a deliberate transition to get you from one part of the song to the next. I understand that. I think that's the core aspect of a turnaround.
And it's usually not very long, like even like 2 measures, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not very long, like a little bridge or something. Yeah.
It's just a transition device. So,
Jean, can we look at that voicing for just a minute?
Of which one? The voicing one. Okay.
Yeah, the voicing one. I want to just, before we looked at these, I wanted to say a little bit about voicing, that it's sometimes, we forget where the best singing is, where we can ring the chords the most. So it's all right occasionally to stretch that range for any of the parts, but particularly I've noticed with the tenor, with the bass sometimes. So if you get down here, for instance, too, you go up a little bit on it. Okay, there you go. So that whereas the particularly this tenor from the A flat, that's the best singing range for a tenor. They can go below it and they can go above it for a note or two. But if we keep them in the best singing range there, that they're not stretching anything, that will be preferable. It'll be the best choices. And the same with the bass. If we get the bass too high for too long, they're out of their tessitura. And if you get the too low, then as we've already talked about, sometimes we do D flats and things like that. But if it's a momentary thing, but I think can go up a little higher there, particularly the no, the other way. I'm sorry. There you go. I put them on here as an ideal, and there are different charts. I think I have 5 different voice range charts, but I just chose this one because it gave this, and then just wrote in those things that even though as it shows a lead, yes, we'll go a C sharp or a D, can do that too. But if we're going to give them really a lot of things, the heart of the range is the places in the red. And you get much higher than that, and the same for the basses. You can get them up to F and to G, maybe for a moment or something like that. But some of these things are too long in those places for them to really sing well, particularly with the tenors. We're spending a lot of time with the tenors out of a tenor sings. It's kind of a breaky thing, and pretty soon we don't have a tenor quality anymore in the tenor voice if we get much below that. So again, occasionally, once in a while, but not as it says up there, singers that aren't comfortable at the extremes of their ranges for a long period of time. Now, we can have people, yeah.
Sorry. This is especially going to be true for C-level groups. That's even more difficult for C-level groups. And according to from what I've been reading about the evaluation, they're looking for you doing something, arranging something, turning in an arrangement for a C-level group. So your wild tags that stretch way far out of the range is not going to score as well on your evaluation for this final thing you have to do, because right away that would be out of most comfort zones of C-level groups. So it's a good idea to try to stay in the range here.
Yeah. And you can have it at the end. You can like pop a note, like a tenor can pop a note, G and A flat. Well, G is not a good note for any tenor. Mostly, and A flat is easier to see, and so is a B flat. But not, but for them to do. And Emily, I was noticing, particularly with yours, I think you're a little used to looking at some of your mixed charts, because you have like a tenor on an A post, and on a tenor won't post an A real easily because that's not in her tessitura. That's in a lead's tessitura. So if it's just, you had great chords in there, but if once again I could hear your group, I could hear you posting that, and the rest of your group, the men, making the rest of that really pop. But for women, I just wanted to go through and say, just try it. But what you did there, give that lead that note, and then revoice, because you have beautiful chords in there, but they won't ring if we all get too low in the ranges or too high in the ranges. We need to find a balance in there, and that's why I put this one on. And I think the particular things that most of you, or we've seen some of, was not stretching a baritone or lead, but the bass. Someone's getting that bass up there for too long, too high. I mean, you ever had a bass in a chorus? It's like going, who gave us those notes? We don't sing that high, right? Okay, get over yourselves. But there's a point to that they're in this tessitura, they're singing here, and all of a sudden they're having to go into something more like a falsetto. Well, that's not going to ring the same, and it's not every, some basses do it, just as some basses can ring a D flat. But in terms of, it's something to keep in mind, and particularly with the tenor, I see that we have the tenors doing maybe awfully high for a long time, and they're great up there for like a note or two, something like that. But I mean, in a long period, in particular when all the chords were high, that
Oh
I think
wait,
is
yeah.
something to
Let's
pay attention to because of the voice leading and and keeping it in a singable thing. Once again, as Gene always says, sing the part all the way through. If it gets to the point that you aren't staying kind of in your home ground, then it's not an opportunity for as much success as if the parts are staying more at home where they need to be.
Right. Let's look, since you were talking about Emily's post here, let's look at her new old tag and new tag. So what I try to do is I try to just put up the old tag of what you did, and then we said, okay, everybody try again and revise your tag for Down on the Farm. And so I thought maybe we would play through both of these and see what the difference is with those. And then we could talk about what you were talking about, this tenor post here, Judy. That would be very helpful. And that's her old version. Here's her new version. So tell us again now, Judy, what you were talking about. This tenor is posting the farm, right?
Yeah.
And
So you
that's
want
what you
to
were
turn it.
talking about.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that's a lead note. That's a lead. For most leads, that's right, and that's right in the heart of their lead. That's not that a tenor can't sing it, but will it be a strong note for a tenor? And then you've got everything is voiced low. Whereas, and I when I did it myself, playing what you had, and I just did I played like that. Put the lead there, and then what you have. No, I didn't play. I'm not playing those notes. But anyway, I played with it a little bit and took your anyway, if you get the idea, your whole tag with the chords you have rings for women. I think it's going to ring for your mixed signals.
Oh, so what you just did when you were plunking there, because sometimes it's hard to understand what you're doing.
Sorry.
It's not. It's just you go really fast, and I'm like, what? You made You had what you just played. The lead was singing hanger, and you had a tenor note that was above that A, right? Is
Yeah,
that what you just
I just revoiced her chords and I probably
Yeah.
missed a couple along the way because you can hear that uh, there's another way to voice it. It will ring if you just revoiced it for women. And I think it would be hard to ring those chords for women there. That's why all of a sudden I was like, I think I hear after I listened, and if you haven't listened to yet, listen to Emily's quartet mixed signals and her three docs and a diva, and which I don't know about anybody else, but at first I thought she said three ducks and a diva. But anyway, and I was ready to look at them all wearing little duck outfits and them some diva, but of course it was
that's a good idea though. We might use that. Yeah.
Just everyone was out there, but I thought it was so cute, and both performances were so good. But after I heard that, and I looked at this, and I thought, Yeah, I'm just looking at these charts too. So you see this, I can see your mixed group do it because if you're the tenor and that's a good place for you because you're really a baritone and that would be a good note for you in that chord.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that that kind of thing we have to look and see. It's lovely, but it won't ring, you know.
And
It
it'll sound really muddy.
it will sound muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes judges write that on their thing, saying, "Oh, that sounds really muddy," and maybe they don't know why it sounds muddy. It just feels muddy, and here it's because it's not in the best comfort zone for the tenor for
But
a
but
women's
the
group
whole thing
to
you
hold
came
that.
up with good stuff. It's just I would
Yeah.
revoice. And Emily's isn't as some, but for some of you, you did something, and it was like I was talking to Jean. I said, "What have we done here?" They took things that were good and redid them, and in trying to find something else. So your other thing, your good old fashioned country home, was on your first one, um, um, down on the what you had there, and then go to your post. Only revoice it. It was, I mean, it was not, there's nothing wrong with either one of them, but it's a little stronger when you got, um, yeah, it was, that we're just looking for a little different down on the farm, and you did that. You gave us a tag. Lovely. Yeah.
Yay.
So
So I
that's,
I know, Emily, you've probably arranged for men and for women and for mixed groups, right? So you just have to differentiate. What's the you have to learn the voicing. Be well, you have learned it.
Sure.
Be more aware of the voicings that you're using,
So
depending
yeah,
on
I
what
was
group
I
you're
was
doing.
yeah. So I'm aware of that, and also this also for various reasons wouldn't work for various mixed voicings either. I was using this as an exercise in trying to write a low soft tag,
Yes.
because most of the tags that I write end up being quite high voiced, which might work in an up tune, but sometimes doesn't have the feel of the chart that I want for a ballad, where I want it to come down and be sort of like a warm hug at the end. So I was really
Yes.
trying to do that, and I'd voiced it for strong voicing, but it was kind of middling and would ring,
Right.
but didn't have that aesthetic. So how do you navigate that issue so it's not always just safe? I know it's going to depend on the key of the chart, obviously,
Yes.
and where you end up. But how do you also strike that balance in terms of ensuring that you have a certain feel at the end, and when do you make the trade-off? Because often my favorite tags to sing are those low soft tags that sound beautiful, even if they don't have the same capacity for lock and ring.
Yes, yes, yes. I was going to say one thing you could do is always keep it closed voicing. Like say if you have uh, so if the lead was doing this hanger and you put a tenor line above that, if you keep it closed voices, it could do that. And then as you get to maybe the last two chords could be a little bit low voice if they're being softer. So like without all the whole tag being so muddy. If you had maybe like if the lead's doing the hanger here, and then maybe it changes to the tenor going to that note on the last two chords or something, changing the voices. That's one way you could maybe create that kind of a warm feeling. And yet it wouldn't strike a judge's ears as, oh, that's so muddy, because you didn't do chord after chord after chord way down in that low voicing. You just did the last couple of chords for effect. And that might be one way to treat that.
and if you take to try to get that thing where you did what we just that soldier boy, that was not a high tech, that was all low, because exactly the thing you didn't want it, you want it to be a warm hug, want it to be a tearjerker. So for that. But so one of the things you can do again with the voicing is, when I was playing with this, was keeping the bass. So if the lead is posting up here, that or which is on a lower, heavy, but da 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 da. So the bass comes down. That will help bring the whole softness of the thing down. You got the bass up kind of high for some of that. If you, like I said, your chords are beautiful, and if you just play with it a little bit, your farm right there. If you put the tenor on the B and the bass on the, the see. There's your first chord instead of you had done that. And maybe for a moment the tenor is up there. But I think you still have an opportunity to do that. But in general, if the tenor's on an A and everything is below it, it's going to have a hard time in general. And not that this couldn't work. And if you say your group wouldn't do it, I just thought in my head I was like going, oh, well, barbershoppers can probably do that. But of course, you would take them lower too. But
Right.
it's just a thought for everybody that in most cases you wouldn't want to give, keeping in mind what the best singing ranges are. And that is not to post for a long time for like a tenor note.
With that as well, that when on balance, when is acceptable, not acceptable to have intervals over a tenth in a tag? Particularly for a soft tag. Like, is it ever?
Oh, it's really hard to make a chord that's very open and more than a tenth. It's hard to make that be soft. It's hard to.
That was one of the reasons I switched the tenor to the post, because I really wanted the bass in that low D, and so it was, if I had lead on it, you're going to end up with a more spaced chord. Can you do that briefly, or it's just just won't?
We could do that for that one chord. Yeah, for an effect.
Yeah, but you could or you could switch
it down to the low D, you mean?
Yeah, the low D. I was going to say, didn't we have an example of that that stretch that you're talking about with the Rini tag, the Masquerade, that was in a stretch of a tenth, that she had that so that has a nice
low. Yeah. I was thinking a high tenth, like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think you could do that. That is not. Yeah, you could do the 10th. You just don't want to have the whole chord start here and go down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just
easier transition to it. Yeah.
Needs to have the ring. Here's something, ladies. If we're going like that last chord, if this chord has more ring than this chord, that's kind of like not a good finished chord. It doesn't have any ring to it. Do you hear it? And this, there's more ring with the note above and the note in between to get in the overtone pattern.
Because the way the overtones line up. Yeah.
Right? There's no overtone pattern there, but you can hear the overtone pattern go if that C sharp is up here and the baritone is here, so that the fifth is really holding on to their a good place for the baritone to be, and then those two match with the tenor and or with the lead and the bass.
And you could still use a soft dynamic level, so you could still have a soft and dynamic that would ring because of the way the voicing is lined up. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So just to go back to that interval issue for a moment, if it's brief, and the transition into the chord is better voicing, C-level groups could navigate a brief more than a tenth interval if it's used for effects. Is that right?
Yes, as long as it's in their comfort. I mean, if you have a group that can sing the low D, like my group could never sing a low D without it going, so depending on what key you're in and stuff, yes.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you could do that once in a while for effect. But most C, to keep in mind, most C level groups that would be a difficult spot for them when it's spread like that, because they don't have the vocal skills to balance it right or produce the tone the right way when it gets out of their comfort zone. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's go to another one. Where do you want to go next, Judy?
Emily, I'm really glad you did that low tag, because that was really interesting.
Yes, it's
like,
really pretty.
Otherwise, we would never have had this discussion about this long low tag. And so thank you, Emily.
Yeah, lots of ways to do that. It's you're on the right path. You just have to make sure it's the strong voicings for women, for the barbershop women singing. Yeah, so that's cool. All right.
Am I correctly understanding that in this discussion we've been told that spreads beyond a tenth are very hard for C level groups? Are you talking about in all circumstances? Or,
no. Yeah, no, I think what Jean's talking about is in general you'd want to avoid, but you could do them one. And I was looking at this, if you just can listen, if I can just do the second, I just found that tag I was looking for, which is, I think that's the Bev Sellers tag on the Masquerade. And if you listen again, which if you just revoice it slightly, is still a haunting tag, but it's within the singer's ability. The tenor saying, and so is love. Well, obviously everybody is low, but I think this is beautiful. I think this is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I think opening that up so we can hear a ring in the chord, there's, obviously it can be beautifully done, but in general, if you're doing particularly for your scholarship, I wouldn't put a tag down there. It's a nice bunch of chords. I'd open it up at the very last. Plus, it has a nice bit.
Yes.
It has a chance for this and there's a 2 octave.
Yeah.
Which you normally wouldn't do, to your question, Donna. But in that case, that can work nicely. See what I mean? You can open something like that up.
Yeah.
It's everybody's tessitura, and it will have a ring, and it will be beautiful and lovely. Did that help?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not out of the question. It's just that we don't want to sometimes have it be. Yeah. Here's one she had over. Now that's a problem child.
Yeah.
That's also a problem child.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay.
Nice. Really good questions.
Well done, Emily.
Yes. All right. Any other questions about this one before we move on? Okay, let's see. Where should we go next here? I'm just going down the list here.
Well, while she's going down the list, let me just say I kept making notes all the way through. Once again, ladies, take a look and see how you can flip-flop parts. All the way through, I'm thinking, nice chords, nice idea. Flip the bass and the baritone, flip the tenor and the notes, so that we have a chord, have chords that ring and really work, instead of some of these that are just too tight, too tightly voiced to give us the ring that we need.
And how do you know about that ring? Because if you know enough about how the overtones work, right, then you'll know. If you know the order of the harmonics for the overtones, and you try to voice it that way, then that's going to ring better, especially for women. Yeah. Okay, let's switch here. Let's see. I have.
And by that you mean you put the bass on the 1 and the baritone on the 3 and the lead on the 5? Is that what you're saying? That kind of order?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, but it would be. But if you look at the order, it's octave and then a fifth and then a third. So I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put the baritone on the third. Put it on the fifth or the octave.
Right.
You know, to
Oh,
voice it,
okay.
so that it would ring. It would make the chord more open and be in the same order that we hear the harmonics ring.
Okay, so you're saying pay attention to the order of the overtone and but then keep the parts still in their regular order as they hit those notes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Who is this? Liz. All right. So we have her old tag and her new tag, and we're going to play through it, see what that one sounds like. Aha!
Nice. You know, you definitely came to the down on the arm, and had a nice. I didn't know if it's necessarily what I call it deceptive, but a nice. What do we call that kind of a tag? Yeah, that's deceptive.
Yeah.
Yes.
This right here is good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a different with the D flat chord in there after that E flat. I like it. Your first one over here, Liz.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah, I remember we talked about this one. Yeah, that's right. So
yeah.
I love my life. Oh, I know what it was. When we get to the down the farm at the measure 3 up there in your second one, here the new tag. I'm sorry. I wanted to hear another chord. Just challenge you to, instead of repeating your chord on, find it that did you hear it? I just changed your on chord. Just
still kept the melody the same.
Yeah, I kept everything, but I'm just saying down on the farm that gives kind of a harmonic progression. There's nothing wrong with what you did, but just to challenge you to find another, instead of repeating a chord, that down it wants to move. To me, is that my barbershop ear, Jean?
Yes.
I want to hear it go.
Yeah.
It just only slightly different. It just makes it a little richer if it has some movement there in the middle, and then see, I wanted to hear that chord to go, which is the chord you have, the B flat chord, only you went to the tonic and it's stronger, and then go to your tonic. Do you hear it? So we go to measure 4. You've got farm. I love. Okay. 2 things there. Also, you could change your voicing on I.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but then when I did that, like all the parts were dropping a lot, and it seemed like it was too much. All the parts were dropping. That's why I didn't do that.
This
on the
chord
line.
bothers my ear. And when I look at the spelling, no wonder it bothers my ear. What is that chord?
It was a B. G, A, B. What is that
Anybody?
chord? B flat. I'm missing a note, am I?
Yes. So when I first glance at that, I'm like, oh, that's a B flat seventh chord. Wait a minute, there's no F in that B. You have two B flats, so it can't be any kind of a seventh chord. So if it's just a B flat chord, it would have to have a B flat T and an F. But you have an A flat in there. So then my question would be, did you mean for that to be a B flat seventh chord? Or did you mean for that to be?
I don't remember. I think I do remember finding that I'd missed a note and fixed it, but that's not this version, so I'm not sure.
Okay. So you did fix it. Okay, so what was it that you fixed it to do what? Do you recall?
Not really, but I just remember noting that I'd left a note out of somewhere. I thought I'd fixed it, but obviously I haven't, unless I've.
Well, maybe you did, because you had this second version and that second version, and then the one second version said number 3, so maybe I put down the wrong one.
I know. And then
Sorry
you get
about
mixed
that.
up when you're doing them over and over.
Yeah. But that's something. So you did catch that there was a note missing. Good for you. Yay.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I don't know why. Anyway, I've probably mislabeled which is my last tag.
And so how did you discover that you had a note missing? Like I can visually look at something and see that it's screwed up, but I can use my barbershop ear. I can use my ear when I listen to the whole thing, and we get to that chord. It sounds, I don't know, hollow. I don't know if hollow's the right word, but it puts a glitch in my ear, because I hear that something's not right. And I'm just asking about, which way do you discover those kinds of things? Did you?
I always go through and actually check every chord.
Good. Okay. Yeah. That's good. Yes.
Yeah, I see on here that the tag that I sent you before going to this one, I've put the baritones on an F.
Okay.
When I've made the revisit, I've written the wrong chord down. I've written the A flat instead of the F. I don't know why I did that.
Okay. Well, like I said, I probably did the wrong, so you had it like that, right? Is that what you're saying you did?
Actually, it might have been a miscommunication between when the revision got back to me.
Okay.
And I've misread something. Yeah, no. Just ignore the A flat, will you?
Okay.
Well, but I think you have the right idea. Is what we're trying to get.
Yes.
Is that you have, so it's, and yes, and we all do it. We catch it all the time. It's like, oh yeah, I doubled that note. I left that note out. I played what I thought, and dumb finale didn't do it. No.
Yeah.
But when you have here at measure 4, what you have there, if you just put that F back in there, and then everything was fine from there to there. And I think when I sent something to you, I wanted you to fix something, but I think I didn't communicate very well. But here are some options for us that you have.
Where are you now? On love?
Back to, I'm sorry, measure 4. So if we're going, we could go to this, love my, oh, And then from then on, you're golden. It's just this measure. So when you fix this one, if you want that chord, and then the next chord that you have is the chord I want everybody to look at on my. Do you see the my chord? There's one of those spread chords that didn't need to be there. You move the D to the baritone and the B flat to the tenor, and you got the chord. Do you see? So,
Yeah.
yeah. In other words, when you see more than an octave between the two of them, just think about flipping a couple of parts. And in this case, and it gives the tenor a better line. Love my old, instead of love my old, you know, the tenor's getting tired of singing D flat or D flat, whatever. Right? So it has a nice movement to it. Does everybody see that? It's just simply a matter of, now you can see it looks better too. The distance between the bass and the baritone. Love my old, before the baritone one, love my love. Yeah, love my da 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 da. Nice. See? You have a nice moving thing there. So you did a really nice job on that tag, Liz. I think that measure 5 needed a little jazzing around. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Browning.
Oh, yeah. It's just that the one that I sent before actually looked more like what you're talking about now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I have to go back and
change
think.
it.
Okay. And sometimes we go to do those, and I said to Jean, I said I talked to both, I sent something to both you and I think Donna, and what you sent back to me, I'm like going, oh dear, you fixed something didn't need to be fixed. Maybe that's what it was, but I don't recall what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anything else about?
May I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Is it ever okay to have a divorced chord in an arrangement? Is it ever?
What do you mean by that?
Well, having two adjacent voice parts, even just a half note or just a whole note, beyond an octave.
Oh sure. Oh, sure it is, but it depends on where it is and how it's going to voice and whatever. In this case, that wasn't the strongest voicing. It love my life. So those are the bigger. I love my life. So love my the my became a bigger chord the other way. Then it just didn't have the, I guess the nuance to it that you might want to have. It wasn't wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just this, we're just trying to show you stronger ways and to take a look and say, oh yeah, if I just looked and saw that was a part, what does it look like if I flip apart and see? And there were other ways you could have done it too. You could have put the bass on that. But I like that, love my old, that's a nice bass line. So find your best singing places for each part. The way she has it now, love my life on the farm. Nice bass line.
Even though every part is going down, isn't every part going down from love my to my?
Yeah. Yes. Did it bother you? I mean, when you played just now, it's like, it doesn't. It's not like it wasn't. It wasn't a haunting thing. It was kind of a. It's still staying in the same family.
That's why that's why it works. It's the same chord.
Oh, okay.
It's still a B flat chord.
Okay.
Just the one chord's a B flat, and now it's a B flat 7, and that's why it works. Yeah.
That's why it works.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Anything else about this? It was fun to look at your old tags and look at the improvements you made on your new tags. That was really cool. It's like, yay! All right, so we move on to another. Any other questions about this one? Okay. We're gonna move on.
Oh, I wanted to say too, you had a nice open voice measure 6 life to a closed voice to that deceptive tag. Yeah. You could even give the tenor a tiddly. Love that farm. Well, depends on if she's a diva or not, right? Okay, good job, Liz. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, we have Donna. Yay! So we'll do the old way and the new way, because I remember we were like, oh, it didn't feel quite finished, and she finished
Oh
it
yeah,
nicely.
this is the one. This is the
Yeah.
one that. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, yay! All right. So I think we talked last time about like your old tag. That's not a very strong to just do one voice and one voice. If we're talking about a tag for a contest song, right? So that was much improved over here, adding chords to that. Cool. So, Judy.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of what Donna said something, and I saw a typo and a couple and whatever like that, and then I suggested this little walking bass, but you changed quite a bit on that thing. Somehow I didn't communicate that very well to you because down on the farm,
So
I
she
wish we
had
had
a
another one to
different.
pull up there.
Okay, I'll
But
look for it while you're talking.
yeah, down on the farm, but okay, so down on the farm, okay, so you did Daddy sang bass. Let's go back to that. That's good. Daddy sang bass, Mama sang tenor, and that's good. Mama sang tenor, and we ended each day in harmony. Gee whiz! Now that's not beautiful.
Yeah.
So good with words, and we ended each day in harmony down on the farm. Working every day down on the farm. And this is what you didn't like being on the farm, did you, Donna? You had to dig deep to find some enjoyment because, as I recall, we couldn't hear you. You're on mute, I think. But didn't you say you didn't like working on the farm in Indiana?
That is correct.
And so I think the fact that you came up with something joyful like this is really good.
Yeah.
But,
I worked hard to do that.
yeah, but that Daddy sang bass, Mama sang tenor, and we ended each day in harmony. And I thought that is like I would have liked to have seen a
Yeah.
different note on
I would
mine.
want to hear that too. Yeah.
You would say that again? I didn't understand.
Okay, so you had, and I gave you in other words, the harmony bringing or
Yeah.
there's different choices there, but it has a nice progression. Ended all day with harmony. I think the harmony, the middle note doesn't do it justice. It's not bad, but I think you could fix that note. But it's nice. And we ended all day in harmony, and then oh, that's what I was going to say. ladies, there's no need to have the lead go down on the farm, down on the farm. Don't give the lead another down on the farm, right? She's not a harmony part.
Oh, I am down on the farm.
Well, and that can be down on the farm. That's stronger than down on. Let the other parts go. Let the bass have it. Nice. Okay.
Oh, I think I found the other version. I'm not sure. Is this the other version? Or
This is the final version. This is the final version.
Oh, that's the same one I just had?
No. Okay, Donna. Yeah. You leave that one up there. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you went right to that chord, and everybody measure 42. Do you see she has the 7th right there? If she left off, well, yeah. Just leave out that first chord for the bass and the baritone, right? On the farm. She's right there, right? Do you see that? We don't need that first chord, which is what she did in the one. Now, Donna, what I want to show you. So that had the opportunity for that bass and the tenor to go contrary motion instead of. Do you see what I mean?
No, I'm totally lost. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I didn't understand what you meant by the chord in 42.
Okay, you fixed that. You left out that first one and went right to the working chord. You fixed that. Down on the farm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, this is not the final version. Okay, now I understand what you're saying.
But what I want to look at is 43. You fixed 43, all different. But look at 43. You have marking. Okay, we're here on Ev. Does everybody see Ev right there?
Yeah.
Ev 43. And then what I was suggesting is that she leaves the baritone of the lead. So in other words, the bass and the tenor walk away from each other instead of. Do you hear that? That's what's strong. You have the makings of a really. Right? Okay. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
If the baritone stays on E.
On what note? On what word?
Ev. Re. Yes.
Re.
Baritone.
So if we switch that.
Make that an E.
Baritone stays on E.
Yep.
Right.
And the bass goes to B.
Oh, shoot. Come on here. A minute now. Bass goes to B.
And the bass, then the bass goes to A on.
A. Yeah.
Yep. And then it comes right back up like you have it. So now you have. Right? And then I ask you to flip that bass and baritone. You had the right chord, but does everybody see that this voicing doesn't look very strong? If the bass and the baritone, do you see that? Does everyone see
what
that?
words are you talking about?
On 44, does
Yeah.
everybody see on 44 the bass, the baritone? We're at the end of the song. That doesn't look very strong for voicing. The bass, the baritone don't get that close together. They need to spread apart, don't they?
Yeah. So she has
Okay, let's go back, move back one. Everybody look at every day down. Do you see the baritone there? Day down on, every day down on. Okay, so the trajectory is, there's the chord that she's going for, but she has the bass on the A, and the tenor and the baritone needs to be on the A, and the bass on the C. So if we look at those two close together like that, do you see on?
On, you want the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bass on
The C.
C.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the baritone on the A. So we have, yeah. Okay. There you go. So that's your chord, Donna, that you had. This is your chord revoiced. Instead of, see, it sounds odd, doesn't it, there? And all I did was revoice it. And all of a sudden it became an exciting chord, right? Do you hear it, everybody?
Okay, so now play all the way from here through there.
Okay. And then I would just invert the chord.
Okay. Down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Or however you wanted to, but when it comes out of here, that 44 first chord, or, but, that
Do the one,
second
do the
chord,
one that went down. Ba-da. That's the one it needs
yeah.
to be.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's an A.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's good voicing for everything, but you left this beautiful chord here and went to, it needs at least to go there. Do you hear? We need space between the baritone and the bass to get ring in the chord.
You're talking about the word on? I mean, on the word the?
On the.
Okay, so what is the chord on
And so,
the?
yeah, where do you want those notes at?
So I'm going to take, so right here in 44, everybody, what is the chord there? She has a, I guess it's a diminished chord. No, it's a C minor 7.
C minor
6, I mean.
C minor 6.
Is that what that is?
Isn't that an F9? F9?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
could be.
rootless F9, isn't it?
Or a C minor 6? Yeah.
I don't hear an F in it, but
Right.
it
So
wouldn't be an
it could be
F9
called
because,
either way, but yes, in this case, it's probably a C minor 6.
yes. So we can play that chord.
And then you what? You revoice in a C minor 6 chord for
So then, yeah, we're just going to revoice it. Yeah.
What's it?
Or any of those combinations. But once you've come to that chord, you need to come out of the chord and then go to the tonic.
Well, I don't have any idea what chord you're playing when you just play
I know.
chords
So
like that. I'm lost.
let her see it visually. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to fix the second chord. So now what happens?
a C on the tenor.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Because that will help her understand it better. Wait a minute now. So is that it now? Like
Yep.
that?
There you go. So you've got that.
And then
Whether you call that a C6, C minor 6, or a is that one of those half diminished things? I'm never sure what that thing is, but anyway, it could be.
C6.
Anyway, that chord.
And then what about the last chord then? That's not.
Yeah, then the right,
D?
then the baritone goes to the D and the tenor goes to the B. Yeah.
Yeah.
could be. But so what I wanted to just show you was how you were so close to having that thing moving, and you can see when it moves away. Yeah? Is that a
So
G?
tell
The
me,
last note is a G for the bass, right?
oh yeah, it's too little for me to see. Okay. What is a G?
Yeah, you got it. That's it.
Yeah,
It
it's a
just I
G.
couldn't
Okay.
tell by the way it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's a chance to have more than one part hold while the other parts move, that's something we're all trying to sometimes have too many things happening all at one time. So in this one, working, it's very strong. These two parts are staying there, aren't they? And the outer parts are moving away from each other, and then they start again. Does that make sense to you at all? Anybody?
Yes. Yes, I see what you're saying.
Because you have the beginnings of what, that's what I had sent to you, because I
Yeah.
thought you had a couple things that were like, on this one, Jean, take out that first note on farm and make it the
Yeah.
working note.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's how she changed it. That was right. Down on the farm, every day down on the farm. And you know, that way you don't have to have working either, do you? You can just have farm every day down on the farm. Because we didn't want to think about work. Ended each day in harmony down on the farm. Every day down on the farm.
Is that what you meant right there?
Yes.
That
Yeah, just take out
okay.
the working then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just leave it
Make
farm.
it all whole notes there.
I would do whole notes because
Yeah.
down
Okay.
on the farm, every day down on the farm. I think it's really lovely. And you were just a heartbeat away from having something that works. And the reason we're working through this is to see, hopefully, everybody can get your juices going on that. I see Emily nodding her head. Thank you. I mean, Abby's nodding her head. Thank you, Abby. You got that, Abby, right? So yeah. So now we have
So Donna, I want to ask you something. So when you are creating a tag like this, and you sort of have it contrary motion, but not quite. Tell me what tell me your thought process. How do you think through on what to put there? I mean,
Just try to find chords that sound like they fit together.
Okay. All right. And so when you find chords that fit together, and after you play it, then so right away my barbershop ear hears this contrary motion, where the second note, here's Ev. I'm talking about the bass and the tenor. I'll get that out of the way. Yep. Ev, re, they're an octave apart, right? And then that. So they're just doing the opposite things. They're just going in opposite directions like that. So when you're playing with the chords, you almost get that. But then it's a little bit off. So I want to know what we could do to help you after you put down what you think works. Do you ever look at it to see if it makes any kind of a pattern between the bass and the tenor, or between the lead and the bari, or anything like that?
Well, I thought I had it. I thought I had contrary motion when you said I almost had contrary motion. I didn't. I thought, well, it looks like it to me.
Okay, so what is contrary motion? Tell me.
Okay, in my first version that I sent you, I had the bass in 43 on a C. Then I went up to a D, a C, a B, an A. And the tenor's going straight up. So I thought that worked.
B, C, B, and A. Oh, okay. And then you had the tenor doing what it says right here, A, B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you had like that. B, C, B, A for the bass, right? And A, B, C, D for the tenor.
Are you starting at the beginning of 43?
I thought that's what you said.
I started the bass. I had the first note was for the bass was a C. C,
For
D.
M, oh, C, D?
C, D, C, C, D, C, B.
Okay, C, D, C, B. And then what did you have for the tenor for that?
A, B, C, D.
Oh, I see. Like that, huh? Okay. So at first, it's not contrary motion on every, right?
Right.
Because they're
Right.
going the same direction. And then
Right.
after that, then it goes contrary motion,
Right.
right? Okay. I see what you're saying. So I think I'm trying to figure out how to help you do this because maybe to my barbershop ear, contrary motion is they end up, wait a minute, I have to do that again now. Oh, they did that there. Okay, I see. Oh, help me out. How can we explain this? When I hear contrary motion in barbershop, a lot of times it's on 3 notes. I suppose it can be 4 notes.
Usually it's a swing out, da da da, and then it
Yeah,
goes.
of 3 notes, yeah. And so I think going parallel first, like what you did, what you said you first had,
Mm-hmm.
makes it not feel contrary to me, even though it went parallel and then it went contrary. So how can it go contrary right at the beginning of the measure? I
guess the way it's fixed now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way that would help you think of that. Trying to.
Well, I didn't realize that a walking line like that was only 3 notes. That's new to me.
Yeah, it usually for an exact contrary motion, it usually is that. But help us out, Emily. What can you add to this?
I just think the explanation around it generally being a sequence of at least 3 chords that have contrary motion in 2 parts is, I think, is the best explanation. Because was that the issue, that the idea that if it was just over 2 chords, it doesn't actually give that full sense of completion of the movement apart or together?
Yeah, she sort of went parallel first, which is okay. But so she went parallel. Yeah, we're talking about what she originally did. And then, so she did have contrary motion there.
If you, Donna, if you look at, I guess when you were on farm and you had this farm.
On 42?
And then when you hit every, that's what you had every. Then on a contrary motion, the bass and the tenor are going to go to an octave, as Jean said, and then you're going to go back to the same chord you were on.
It's the
every
same chord
day
as that one.
as the first chord. Ev and day are the same chord revoiced, right? And in between you have the E minor with the
Right.
so that it makes an arc of a line. Da 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 Da, da, da. Now, the reason we can't go on beyond that to make, because the chord has to change after it's started with this chord, and now it can go to some other chords. What you did, I guess, isn't wrong, but it isn't strong.
Yeah, it sounds very
We want to
parallel that
hear,
way.
we
Yeah.
want to hear it going away. You hear it, it's just that it needs to. That's why I just wanted you to hear that you could go with just a slight change in what you did, that you could hear it go, the lead or the tenor and the bass go away from each other, and that's good contrary motion. I think somebody else had a one that was a lead and a bass that had nice.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, that wasn't it. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was, but I heard it. I saw it. We'll see it coming up here. And
Okay. Emily, what did you want to add to that?
Or just to add that perhaps rather than this sort of theoretical musical explanation, I think part of it is, to the ear, it needs to sound like the two parts that are moving away from each other are having a conversation. Until it has that sort of feel to your ear, then it's not true contrary motion. And it's usually the bass and the tenor kind of having a moment together. Unless it's got that quality to your ear, it generally isn't true contrary motion.
Yeah.
Whether it be up or down the scale, or whether it be chromatic, it's got to have that almost that unique moment, like it's almost an embellishment by itself, even if it's mid-phrase. I don't know if that helps, but I feel like it's got that qualitative difference as well.
So it needs to start at the beginning of the phrase. Is that what y'all saying?
Beginning of the
Not
measure.
necessarily.
Well, no, but the way, because she did have contrary when she did Vri Day Down. Her original Vri Day Down was contrary. But because every went parallel first and then did contrary, it didn't feel like a true contrary motion. So, and I think it's because of where the chord on farm, like Judy, when Judy played farm and then did every day. Can you play that for us again, Judy, from farm every day?
do that.
Yeah.
Here, I'll do it the other way too. That's with it going up. But here we've got farm, and we have an opportunity to grow, to open it up. Yeah.
Jeez, I'm trying to. Yeah.
It becomes yes. Trying to find the words to explain what it is you're trying to say is hard to do.
Yeah. So probably, when you said, oh, it needs to start at the beginning of the phrase. Well, the beginning of this measure, maybe if you would approach it as doing the contrary at the beginning of the measure and get into that habit when you're trying to find chords, So like if I hear the melody, the farm, and then I can hear the bass and tenor part going, then I would write down those notes. So we have the lead hanging on the G, and then I would write down the bass and the tenor thing because I can hear that contrary motion. And then, okay, so that leaves one note left for the baritone. So if I have this, what other note fits in there? Oh yeah, that one. And what if I go to the next one? Oh yeah, that still works for that one. And you'll find out when you do the contrary motion, the two inner parts you generally stay on the same note that they're on. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps or not. So when you're looking to do something contrary motion, think of the outside, whichever two parts are doing the contrary. Put that in first, and then see what note is left over to make a chord, and then it'll probably work. That's one way to approach it.
Right.
You're so close to doing the right thing, and your ideas are right. And so I was trying to figure out, what's a way to help that so that it.
Okay.
Doing
Thank
good
you.
stuff. I see an improvement. Yeah.
Yeah, Emily, what?
I
Anything
have
else?
another question, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Judy, you had suggested that Donna remove the working in front of measure 43.
Yeah.
And the reasoning for that was what again, please?
Oh, I'm just saying she's got, and we ended all day in harmony down on the farm. Every day down on the farm. It's just sort of like working kind of, we were having harmony. Why did we want to talk about work again?
Okay.
I just think there's Daddy sang bass, Mama sang tenor, and we ended all day in harmony down on the farm. Every day down on the farm.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I see. When you say all of that.
A rhythm to it. It has I feel good with it. If you go now, I'll do Daddy sang bass, Mama sang tenor, and we ended up each day in harmony
That's
down
so
on the
cool.
farm, working every day down on the farm. It's like it's kind of throws off the rhythm
The tone.
yeah, it just was like down on the farm. We want to hold
I
it
see
down
that.
on the
I
farm.
see that.
Yeah, and then every day down on the farm. Mm-hmm.
And we're working in here we are in harmony. We're singing and having a good time. Let's not talk about work. That's very clever. Oh, I'm amazed, Donna, because and hearing how you didn't like working on a farm and how you came up with something like this. That is so cool. That's just incredible. Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else on this one before we move on?
The discussion about parallel motion did make me reflect that the examples I can think of that are the strongest and most powerful in terms of that sense of motion really are either at the commencement of a phrase, or they're a full embellishment, or it's the beginning and the ending of a thought.
Yes. Oh, good.
Or it's the beginning of a thought that propels you into the next idea. I'm just thinking about that sort of lyric congruence as well. It's not just a device mid-phrase. It's usually something that actually, like Donna said, is the beginning of the phrase, or embellishment, or is the thing that propels you onwards. It serves a function.
Oh, that's very good. Because then every day is the contrary motion, where when the other way she had it, contrary motion was re-day down. Makes more sense on every day. Yeah. Oh, well,
you could have it anywhere, but I'm just thinking of examples in my mind, the ones that are sort of most compelling to the ear. It usually it serves a lyric or a momentum function at the beginning of a phrase or into an embellishment.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right, but I'm just in my mind thinking of examples.
Well done.
It always comes back to often comes back to that lyric. And again, Don, I think what you had there with that farm every day seems like more conversational, which we always wanted to, instead of every day down, every day down, every day down on. It fits the lyric and it fits the musical line that they work together. So I think what Emily is saying there is, I hadn't even thought of that, but maybe that's why that I wanted you to go as every day, because it sounds every day, like it goes with every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well done.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Sure, you got you totally baffled now.
No, it's coming clearer.
Yeah, I think those are good. That's why it's good to have share thoughts and everything. It's not like anybody has all the right ideas. It's like we put it together and then we somehow come up with things. Okay, so we're ready now for Abigail.
All right, here's Abby. Let's see, getting it ready for you. There we go. There it is. All right, it's the old tag and the new one.
Can you do that? Sorry.
Uh,
All right, nice. So, Abby, tell us about it.
tell us your thought process. Yeah.
Well, the main goal was to get in the deceptive, and I actually
Yes.
had one earlier on in the reprise, and then I realized I thought that was sufficient, but you mean actually when you think it's going to end. So the main thing I did was just change the to the measure 5 in this, rather than just going back to 1. Now, sadly, it meant that I lost my really nice low ending. Like, I really liked how it had ended with the tenor low and the hold on the 2-1, but overall it worked better. So that was a sacrifice I made. That's the main thing that I changed.
Yeah. And yeah, as an arranger, you have to make choices like that, you know. You have to, oh, I like this, but I like that. What's going to work out the best? Yeah. All right, cool.
You know, let me just say something about Abby, about your first one. That if the lyric line fit down on the farm, and then you have the bass there, and then they came in and said, "My home," and the bass would have to go farm. That sometimes we do that, but I think my farm. It seems like down on the farm. Somehow, if we had something more warming than my farm, but my home, because you've talked about my heart is there, and up above, my heart is yearning for my home. Down, my heart is down on the farm, my home. Somehow, that might work for something like that. I think it might be because it was very pretty. But anyway, now what you did over here, my heart lies down. My heart lies on, and good. You kept it up there, good, on, and to have the bass didn't go down to the slide because that on the farm, and that's a nice deceptive. Yeah, very nice deceptive.
Yeah.
I would almost go to the F first.
Yeah.
And then let the baritone take that down. You almost told him what you were going to do before you did it. Oh, wait, you did that. Oh, no, sorry.
No, I just changed it.
I'm sorry, I played it wrong to start with. Yes, that's exactly right.
I did it 100 times figuring out the 2 chords in 5. I was like, do I do this and then this and this and this? And I mean, a simple way is just keep them the same both times, which you don't want to do. So what was your suggestion? The difference for the 2 different.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Having the baritone be an F natural first, and where originally you had the F flat.
I think that's nice. I was trying to do what you're trying to do there, somehow having another post. You could have the bass post with them too, but yeah, that sounds stupid. No.
D flat, F, so a D flat 7 and then a D flat minor. What's that? 6.
Yeah.
No, I think what you did is fine. You know, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I was trying to find a place where you could have the lead and the baritone post, but I don't know if that's all right. Yeah, no. I think that's probably nice. I was going to suggest that when you did home on measure 2, Abby, that I'm a little troubled with that.
Just, you know, the old take you have here is actually what you guys corrected. That's not actually what I had. That's a correction that we talked about last time. So when you take measure 2, the chord on my, I had just what did I have? Got it. I had something so that was your solution to make because you thought the bass was too far away from everything. And then the way I did it in the new tag was just a revoicing that.
I'm not
That's
talking
probably
about that, honey. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about home. I'm talking the lead sitting up here. This is what we have if the lead needs to come down with the tenor on home.
Oh, I think you mentioned something about that, but I didn't understand what you meant. So now I think so rather than home half note, go
if
flat.
If the tenor moves, this is the chord you have. The lead has to move with the tenor, or else not have the tenor move.
Okay.
You could go there, but I just really wanted to hear that next chord. You know, when it goes, does anybody else want to hear that? I want to hear that chord. I don't want to hear just a lead. I want to hear. I like the whole thing. I just would like to hear a chord voiced on measure 3. Especially because everybody's up high. It's sort of like it needs to be finished.
So I use the my chord, so on measure 3, do the full chord on the first one, not on the first beat, not the second, and then just simplify the.
But you don't ever let us hear this. You took us right to there instead of, this is what they were talking about, income or that unfinished. I don't want to hear that. Do you hear that? Does anybody else hear that? Or is it just me?
So what would you? So in the first chord of 3, what would you put then?
I put that. You're leading those notes. Go right to 4. But if you want to do with that, there is a chance for a contrary motion.
Well, there's a place if you want to just leave the lead by itself. I would do this chord on my
Okay, so there you go. What Jean says. Listen to this.
So
I think everybody's up there. I'd keep them up there until I resolve the issue. It seems like this doesn't seem like the right chord to me.
Yeah.
You have this chord. You have that on Heart Lives, don't you? I just did what we were just talking about. Taking a whole, the bass is up here. My heart lies on. Good example of something to do. I don't think it's wrong what you did, but your chords before told us you were going to do something else. Did anybody else hear that?
Yes. This feels out of place. That chord on
my chord
feels out of place. Yeah.
So can you please clarify what chords you think would sound? Can you tell me the names of the chords that you think would be what you're wanting to hear?
I want to hear this heart chord right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear the heart chord, exactly. your heart chord, and then yeah. Now, somehow that keeping this the heart chord and then going to this chord. The whole thing is the same 4 on is just lovely. I just think that there's some that we're missing an opportunity with putting that my chord in there. Down. Do you like that contrary motion going away from there?
Oh yes, I'm still trying to figure out which chords you just played were. So
it's an
other
F
than the
minor 6.
okay.
Actually, it's a B flat 9. Because you can hear the B flat in the chord. That's how you know if it's a B flat 9 or if it's a 6, right? Is if you can hear that. You can hear that, can you? Does everybody hear that? If we could sing 5 notes, that's what we do. Okay?
So I hear this. I hear like down by itself, and then see if I can play it right. Wait. My heart lives. There we go. That's what it is.
There you go.
And
then she's good, and then she's golden. Yeah.
The farm, or whatever you do after that. Yeah.
Just do it from the top. You have it lovely here. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it maybe violates all those rules of voicing, but it's cool.
It's a perfect place for it. Yeah.
You like it? So
yes, Emily.
Let your lead stay right there.
Wait.
My heart lies down the It's really nice, particularly because if we're going to go up high like that, it seems a good place to be on this one.
What did you have, Emily?
Oh, this discussion has just made something occur to me. So, because I'm often told off for making cheeky chord choices that I'm told don't make sense, and then I get confused about when to do deceptive cadences versus when to do cool stuff. What I think is cool stuff, but it's wrong. And I think it's because we're essentially waiting to hit that final resolution to tonic. If you choose an alternative chord choice another time, it's a risk or might not sound right to the ear. The reason why we need a B9 or substitute here is that that's the original implied harmony of the song, and we haven't yet hit the feeling of 1. So if we go off in a different direction at this point, it sounds odd. Whereas if we pick a deceptive cadence, different choice in bar, well, it's called 5 here, when you would be hitting tonic, that's where it sounds, oh, that's cool, as opposed to that's not the implied harmony. We haven't got to the feeling of home yet. So is that right?
Yes.
We need the B9 or B flat 9 or B flat 9 feel here, because that's the implied harmony of the song. And it's not until we hit farm, which is the 1, that we can actually do something funky. Have I understood that correctly?
Bingo.
I've just realized why I keep getting told off. Thank you, Abby, for allowing me to come to this realization.
Okay. Now, so I'm not sure I followed any of that, but thank you. That was good.
Yes.
Did that make
that makes sense. Yes.
But is that what the issue is here? Because both of you came to a B flat 9 sort of feel in that chord, because that is the implied harmony of the original chart. You're sort of saying it's too early to go in a different chord direction here.
Correct.
Until we get the opportunity to do something instead of hitting home chord.
Yes.
Correct.
I get what
okay.
you're saying. That's right. So
and because of what happened up here is why that worked over here using that B flat
and we
9.
don't. I think that I'm understanding that sometimes it isn't just like the very last before the very last chord. There are opportunities to do to do these things before we get there. Lots
True.
of opportunities to put things in it. I had several times in Soldier Boy where I get to this. I never quite got to those things until I finally got to that thing.
Yes.
It kept stringing along. Okay, Abby, I want to re-say what I said about For My Home, because the lead needs to sing for my home, for my home, for my. So that chord on my, the second chord, the lead needs to sing the C, and the baritone would sing home, my home. The baritone sing my home is not a good thing. Okay?
Yeah.
So I want to rethink that. It's great chords, but again, we have to look at what the voicing is. Do you see it? So everybody in measure 2, the baritone is an A flat, and then a G flat, and an A flat.
Oh, yeah, that'll work better. Yeah.
It's really too high, but we like it anyway. Be better if the bass didn't go up so high, but it's only a moment. They'll live.
They'll get over it.
My home. They can sing it. My home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A little bass coming down there. But either way, we need to make sure that if we're going to make a chord like that, that we don't put the baritone or anybody else in a trapped place, which they would be if they went, oh, my home. Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
that's just too weird.
They'll want to go out and have a beer for sure.
Or shoot somebody. I don't know which.
Maybe stronger. Yeah. So and then the lead just takes the C.
Right.
On my eye. And also it doesn't look funky anymore. And she's saying, God is yearning for my hometown. Yeah? More of a singing line. Whose did we do that? Was it Liz? Maybe it was Liz's, and I just thought of it now. Did I sing it? One of those that I sing again, and it's the melody, yeah. Yeah. No. Yep. Same thing. Yep. Now it looks better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can learn something about how it is just by looking. And when you saw that C pop out up there, and I'm like going, oh dear, what will that?
Oh, yeah.
How will they want to sing that? Oh no. They'll secede from the Union. So my heart lies on. Yeah.
So remember that somebody else was asking about parallel. I think it might have been Elizabeth. I don't remember for sure. Here it is, parallel, everybody going up, but it's the same chord, just revoiced with different voicings on the my eye. So it's okay to do that.
And just to be devil's advocate, my home. It's the same chord revoiced with the Yeah, is
Yeah.
another way to do it. It might be a little more politically correct, but
What did you do there?
I just put the bass on the C, left the lead on the. Once again, the lead or the bass and the tenor went out, and the other two parts stayed where they stayed home, and the bass stayed. My home. Yeah.
Yeah. You just stay on the.
Yeah.
Wait, what's missing here? What I got?
The baritone has to stay in the G flat,
Oh, that's the only thing that's
and
different.
the and the lead would stay
On
for my home. Even though we liked it going up there. Contrary motion will generally win.
What does the lead do then? Is that right now?
The lead stays on A flat.
Oh, okay. So they're doing just an okay. Yeah, like that.
Mm-hmm. Then we don't have everybody going up. We just revoice the chord. So once again, ladies, it's not a right or a wrong, but it's a what is going to work and what's going to work better. And oftentimes you have the right chord, but it isn't voiced right. Now we've just seen 3 different voicings of the same chord. Or I'm not opposed to that, but
yeah,
it's going to be a little harder to sing.
Harder to tune.
Harder to tune, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can hear that it's going to be a little difficult for all the parts to tune that. But same chord, not hard to tune.
So that's the difference between an arrangement for a C level, which should do what this one does right here. An arrangement for a higher level chorus could do that other closed voicing and probably do it in tune. But for a C level, this is the smarter choice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, as Gene always says, think about who it is you're arranging for. You know, if you're commissioned to do something for Scottsdale, do that and make it even more difficult.
Right. But for the purposes of your final evaluation for this whole thing, they're looking for something that's for a C level group.
And they're looking for something that shows that you understand how the parts sing best. The bass is, oh my home, it's on my home. That's not an easy interval to sing, and it kind of takes you out of your tessitura for bass.
Yeah. A higher level group could do that.
They could.
But a C level, probably not. They would not be successful. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. All right. Anything else about this one? Okay. So Elizabeth, if you want to someday, redo your tag, we'll be happy to look at it for you.
Thank you.
You know, and so you don't do it by tomorrow. Do it when you have time to do it. You know.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so let's see. From here, what is the next thing we do? I forgot to. We are.
Could I just ask a general tag question?
Sure.
It's kind of twofold, just in terms of ideal vowels. I know that the most open vowels are the most ideal, but which are the ones that are sort of okay versus never go there? And in terms of your final sustained notes, and also, do you have any sort of comment or advice on lyrics and rhyming lyrics, in terms of when to sort of follow that rhyme pattern versus when you can go off on a different tangent and actually create a new lyric sentiment for the tag. Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, you want to keep it rhyming, yeah, all the way, and maybe at the tag, maybe the last time through you could do something else, but I'm not. How would you go off on a tangent? What would you mean? Different lyrics that don't rhyme? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, so this is a particular issue I've come across when you've got the word that it naturally ends on being one that is not going to be ideal for lock and ring, particularly if it ends on ooh. So how do you naturally change to a more ideal vowel? Firstly, which ones are most or moderately acceptable? And then how do you actually navigate that lyric transition without it just being, oh, I'm introducing a new word now because it's got a better vowel? Have you got any advice about this?
Oh gosh, it would depend on the lyric line. Judy knows.
Something that you had earlier in your song is where you want to draw on. Something that will be not like, oh, they found a new word, but a word that came in. I think I did the music judge didn't like it much. I did through the years. But you can't end on year because it will not bring it off. But in there it had I've got all these other things in here, but there was in my life is in the song a lot. Oh shoot, I can't even think of it. But anyway, so I worked it around so that it ended on through the years all my life.
Oh yeah.
Because it's what the whole song was. It's not just through the years, but it's I'll be with you all my life, or so it took but that was in the song, and that made it into a transit. I think you have to make it so that either something you had earlier, or it makes a nice thing. I was looking at this one, trying to look at Abby's down on the farm to get back to home.
Back to home,
and I was having trouble finding it, but sometimes it doesn't happen to you right away. That you would somehow make it into that. The way her tag is right now, it would be difficult to do it. But farm, I love my home. You could farm into home. I mean, maybe not. Yeah. Lots of times you'll go from take one word that's similar to that word and then go into it. But not this one. But yeah, I think you can easily. You have to take. You can't really. Farm doesn't ring either, does it? Farm.
Well, at least it could be an ah vowel. It wouldn't be as bad as something else.
Yeah. Right.
So am I right saying oh is generally the best, ooh is the worst? You want to avoid e or shut down diphthong words. Is okay if it's sustained.
Or an o. Those work really well.
Okay.
Well, I think the ones that you don't want to do are and but yes, o, ah, they will. It's just, and if they have a big old consonant after them, or like farm,
This was an issue I had recently because it ended with It was in the morning. In the morning. Yeah. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's right. You have to find it. Those are the problem things we have to do. I was listening to when I went to visit my little grandson. Not only is a British accent, he sounds like he's from Boston. I mean, it's like, in Boston they say things like park the car, park the car. And so I said, what was the letter that you learned today? He said, ah. And I said, ah? And he says, ah. And I'm like, ah. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Well, neither did his mother. So, okay. Yeah. Well, it was an R. And I'm like going, oh, but he's like, ah. And I'm like, ah, okay. Well, just write it for me then, okay? Ah. And it's like, oh, it's an R. He said, I said ah. I'm like, what do you know? But on the other hand, that's not they're basically to have a good, nice, big round if you can. Home, O's, O's. I think you can do an E. It's like E, and not the best choice though.
Yeah.
Not a good choice. I think oohs can make a very nice one. You can make a nice round ooh. Ooh. I mean, people have
On
to
a
learn how to sing
soft
a good
hand,
ooh,
yeah.
but just at the very, yeah, and yeah.
Ooh, I just thought of something for this, going back to home here. Heart is yearning for my down on the farm will always be my home. If there's a way to put that in there or something, so that it could end on home. Maybe that's too many words to throw in there, but
Tricky when you've got a post, isn't it? Because then you might end up with different vowels if it's a different word.
oh, that's true. Yeah. But I was just thinking of some way to get back to home there.
You know, if you had some other things in there, that's a little creative approach that you could come up with, Abby. For instance, if you wanted to, that down my heart lives on the farm, and then she's posting. It's like, and we go ba-da-da-dum, and then it goes to the home, and then the bass goes my home, and the bass finally comes in to get into that. If it were, I mean, if it were a bass post like you had over here on the other side, I was looking at that. Or it could be the lead also, but somehow give them an opportunity to come back into the mix. If the best thing, if you can stay within the same family vowels, when I had Soldier Boy, it's like, uh, what's the last word I know? I love you so, Soldier Boy. They all have the same sound of an you see what I mean? If you find you have to work at it sometimes and sleep on it and maybe sleep on it a few more times.
Yeah.
And spend a lot of time in the shower just saying those things. But you'll come up with something that you can like stay in that family of vowels so that whoever's posting, like, oh, I love you so, Soldier Boy. I mean, it never quite left that sound.
Wow.
It wasn't like saying had some other, issues in it. So, just thoughts.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. You guys are doing such good work. We just
yeah.
we want you to just be the best you can be and try and give you ideas of how you can strengthen the ideas that you have and make them just work a little better.
A little stronger.
That's all. It's not, please don't think of any of it as a criticism of any kind. It's all a learning process. But I feel sometimes it's like, no, I'm not trying to beat up on you. I'm just trying to show you that maybe it could make it a little better if we heard something a little different. Yeah. So.
All right. So our next session is going to be the finale stuff. All right.
Oh boy, I'm going to love that because
that's scheduled for Friday, December 2nd. So we decided then we're going to keep this 4 p.m. Central Time, right? Is that what we decided? I think
yes.
Okay. I want to make sure. So I'll send out an email right away that says it that way. Okay, and I have it written that way. And then the time at the next one after that is scheduled for Friday, January 6th. And we could do that one at 4 p.m. Central Time also. Correct?
is it?
Yep.
I thought, are we change? So we're changing now. So 4 p.m.
Well, I messed it up by accident today, and they all said, "Well, this time works okay for me."
Okay. We meant okay. Gotcha. I just was okay. I'm with you now. So 3 Mountain. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like that was my fault for messing up. So okay, and then in January 6th, then that's when we're going to be working on "Call Me Back, Pal of Mine."
All good. Fabulously.
And then the deadline for trying to turn it in so we have time to figure out what we're going to discuss in our class would be December 30th. It's your deadline for trying to turn in Take Me Back, Pal of Mine. All right.
Okay.
And yes, and that Emily did a very creative one about text me back. I love it. Ah, so that will be a fun thing to look at. Yeah.
So Jean,
Mhm.
when we turn in our final arrangements to not you ladies, but whoever else is going to be looking
Uh-huh.
at it, that song is our song of our own choice.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And when do we turn that in?
Let's see. Now we had a hassle about this before, didn't we? I mean, I don't. Well, it depends. So you have to turn it in to finish off this intermediate cohort thing, which is different than turning it in if you're applying for an arranging scholarship. So that's two different things. The arranging scholarship, I know, is like October 15th was, is usually the deadline
This
for
is,
that.
yeah, it's the final so that you qualify as an approved arranger.
Yes. And so I don't know that, I think what we decided with the last group was we just said everybody try to be done, but there's no such and such deadline. But I think we as a group decided let's try to have them turned in by, I don't know, March something or February something. So I don't know that. I think Judy's looking it up because I think we probably wrote this down.
Yeah.
Because there officially is no official date, but I wouldn't drag
Okay.
on forever,
Right.
And then something that I reread, and I'm going to reread it again, Judy, that we should look at, is if you are going to use this final song that you pick, and you're going to use that to also apply for an arranging scholarship, then we can't look at it. We can't help you. You're on your own turning that in. So that makes me think, Judy, that if they're not going to use that same song, that we could look at it and say, hey, check this spot, check this
Right.
spot, check that spot before you turn it in. So there is that opportunity. But if we do that to whatever you pick, then you cannot use that song to also apply for an arranging scholarship. You'd have to use a different song. Yeah. So
The good news with some of that is, as we found out with our other group, is that the choice of song is so important. When you apply for the scholarship, there's so much emphasis on that you want to know that maybe, and it's, I don't know. I think Gina, I'm going to have to go back and review, or no, we're going to have to go back and look at how this happened, because I remember.
Yeah. Well, because we didn't help them at all, and it's
No,
like what I reread, and I want to check with Kay, was like we can help them with. I'm wondering if once you choose the song that you want to do, if you can run that by us, and we can say, oh, this is maybe this would be a good one, or oh, maybe keep looking. I
Yeah.
wondered if we could help them that way.
Yeah, that's we need to.
We'll check on that.
We'll have a little time here. We'll have that for you by next year.
Yes, there we go. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was, this is a pilot program. And the first group we did, we were all just, trying things out. And we noticed, we discovered that there were some things that we should have covered better with the first group that they didn't get, that you are getting, because now we're new and improved or something.
Great. Yeah, there you go. We hope.
Yeah.
So is the scholarship application is it every year, always mid-October?
Yes. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so if you want to be doing that, and then in the meantime, we'll double check, because that was a downfall of our first group, was they chose a song that, a couple of them chose a song that was not a strong enough song to begin with. So, and then that brought their score down. So, We want to try to avoid that if we can.
Yep. Okay. All right. So is everybody, I missed out on all the stuff like that. Liz, do you feel okay? You look like you're coughing or something. You all right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
When I first came on, you were coughing or something. I thought so.
We
Abby
choked her up. We
I
choked
was
her.
just waking up.
just waking up? Is
Yeah.
Abby, where are you now?
She missed this
I'm
part.
I'm off Fraser Island, which is far north of Brisbane, so east coast of Queensland.
Ah.
I'm living